We had been dreaming of moving away from the city chaos for years. Finally, when the opportunity came to buy a small farmhouse in the countryside, I didn't hesitate. My wife Eliza was excited too, and so was Milo, our golden retriever. He was calm, friendly, the kind of dog everyone loved. The farmhouse was old but charming. Surrounded by tall trees and fields, it felt peaceful and inviting. Our first few days were perfect, long walks, fresh air, and quiet nights. But on the very first night, something strange happened. We were sitting on the porch, wrapped in blankets, sipping hot cider. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, leaving the sky a soft orange pink. Milo lay by our feet, calm and relaxed. Then, from the thick grass near the old barn, I heard it, a faint, low hiss. It was almost like a whisper, a sound I hadn't expected in this peaceful place. I looked toward the barn, half expecting to see a snake or some small animal, but the grass was still. Suddenly, Milo's ears perked up. His calm melted into alertness. He rose on his paws, his eyes sharp and fixed on the barn. Then, without warning, he let out a deep, urgent bark, sharp and aggressive. "Hey, Milo, what's wrong?" I asked, standing up. But Milo bolted toward the barn, barking nonstop, his hackles raised. It was unlike any bark I'd ever heard from him, raw and filled with fear. Eliza laughed nervously. "Maybe it's just a snake. Milo's warning us." She tried to calm him down, but Milo stayed by the barn door, growling low, refusing to move. I went to check the barn, flashlight in hand, but found nothing. No snake, no animals, no movement. Just the same old hay bales, rusted tools, and silence. I called Milo back, but his eyes stayed on the barn, restless and uneasy. That night, the hiss returned. It was quieter than before, but unmistakable. A sharp, sibilant sound that sent chills down my spine. Milo reacted immediately. He jumped up from his bed, ears alert, tail stiff. The moment the hiss came, he barked loudly, pacing by the door, refusing to settle. Eliza tried to reassure me. "It's probably just a harmless snake. Milo's protective. He's doing his job." But the sound didn't seem harmless to me. There was something unnatural about it. And what terrified me more was Milo's reaction. He wasn't barking out of anger or annoyance. It was fear. Pure, instinctive fear. I tried recording the sound on my phone, hoping to capture it. But when I played it back, the hiss was gone. Only Milo's barking remained. It was as if the hiss existed only when heard live, disappearing in recordings. Over the next few nights, the pattern repeated. Every time the hiss echoed near the barn, Milo barked fiercely, sometimes growling or whining. He even started sleeping closer to us, alert to the slightest sound. One morning, I found muddy paw prints leading from the barn door into the fields, but no other tracks around. It was like Milo had chased something unseen. Eliza still tried to stay optimistic, but I could see she was growing uneasy too. Milo's behavior was becoming more anxious, and the hiss felt like a haunting presence in our new home. I decided to learn more about the property's history. The previous owners mentioned a strange tale. An old snake said it had been trapped beneath the land years ago. A local legend, they said, nothing more, but Milo didn't bark at legends. He barked at something real. That night, as the sun disappeared, I sat on the porch, heart pounding, waiting for the hiss. And sure enough, it came, a cold, eerie hiss slicing through the stillness. Milo leapt to his feet, barking his warning into the dark. I knew then this was just the beginning. The days after that first week grew heavier with unease. Milo's behavior was changing rapidly. No longer was he the happy, easygoing dog we knew. Now, he was tense and jumpy, especially near the barn and the tall grass surrounding it. He refused to go anywhere close to that side of property, and sometimes he'd growl at nothing visible. Eliza tried to comfort him, but even she admitted the atmosphere was strange. I myself felt it, an invisible weight pressing down, like the very air had thickened. One afternoon, determined to find answers, I decided to inspect the barn again. This time, I went in broad daylight, hoping the bright sun would banish any shadows or tricks of the mind. Milo stayed by the house, whining and scratching at the door, clearly afraid to come with me. The barn's door creaked loudly as I pushed it open. Dust motes danced in the beams of light, cutting through cracks in the wooden walls. Old tools hung from nails, cobwebs draped corners, and the scent of damp would fill the air. It looked like nothing had changed since we first arrived. I walked toward the back corner, where I thought the hiss might be coming from. My flashlight beam scanned the floorboards. That's when I noticed it. A circular patch of wood that looked scorched, blackened, and oddly out of place. Kneeling down, I tapped the boards and found them loose, as if someone had forced his way through from below. Carefully, I pried up a plank to reveal a dark hollow beneath the barn's floor. From inside that hollow, I heard the hiss again, louder, angrier, and more intense than before. It wasn't just a sound now. It was a warning, a challenge. My skin prickled with fear. Suddenly, a rush of cold air swept past me from a hole. I felt as if something unseen was breathing just beneath the earth. Milo's anxious growls echoed in my ears, though he was still far from a barn. I slammed the plank back down and hurried outside. My hands trembled as I locked the barn door tightly. I didn't want to spend another moment near that hole. When I told Eliza, she was disturbed but still hopeful. "Maybe it's just an animal hiding down there," she said. "We could call animal control or someone to check it out." But I was starting to doubt it was any ordinary creature. That night, the hiss returned again, this time not from the barn, but from under our own floorboards, inside the house. Milo barked violently, scratching at the living room floor, as if trying to dig through the wood. Eliza and I couldn't sleep. We sat in the car, parked just outside the house, engine running until dawn. Milo stayed alert, his eyes scanning the darkness, ears twitching at every sound. The next morning, things only got worse. Our car refused to start. The battery was dead, or so it seemed. Eliza tried calling for roadside assistance, but all she got was static. The power in the house flickered ominously. It felt as if the very land itself was turning against us. The hiss came again that night, louder, closer, almost inside the walls. Milo growled fiercely, teeth bared, pacing relentlessly. His protective instincts were in overdrive. We realized we were trapped, surrounded by something ancient and malevolent. I contacted a local man known for his knowledge of the area's dark legends. When he arrived, his expression was grim. He listened carefully as I explained everything. The hiss, Milo's behavior, the barn's strange floor. "The barn is cursed," he said quietly. "Long ago, a powerful snake spirit was trapped beneath this land. The barn was built to cage it, but the spirit's anger still lingers." "And the dog?" I asked. "Some dogs can sense the unseen," he replied. "Milo's barking is a warning. He's trying to protect you from what lies beneath." We left the barn door tightly shut after his visit, but the fear had settled into our bones. That night was the darkest yet. The house was silent, except for the faint creaks and groans of settling wood. Milo refused to rest. He paced the room, low growls rumbling deep in his throat, eyes locked on every shadow. I lay awake beside Eliza, clutching a kitchen knife like a talisman against the unknown. At exactly 3 a.m., a cold draft swept through the bedroom, chilling the air like icy fingers. Then came the hiss, sharp, hateful, and right inside the room. Eliza screamed. The lights flickered violently before bursting into darkness. Milo sprang into action, lunging toward the closet. I barely had time to react as I fumbled for a flashlight. The beam illuminated something that should not have existed. A long, sinuous shape slithered up the wall, blacker than the darkest night, its scales shimmering with an unnatural sheen. Its eyes were narrow slits of glowing white that pierced the darkness like daggers. The thing wasn't a normal snake. It hissed again, a sound like metal scraping stone, vibrating through my bones. Milo bit the air, snapping at the creature that seemed to dissolve and reappear like smoke. I raised a knife and stabbed blindly. The creature recoiled with a screech that sounded like agony and rage. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished into thin air. The room was still again. Milo whined softly, his body trembling but alert. Eliza clung to me, her face pale and eyes wide with fear. We sat in the darkness until the first light of dawn. When morning came, the sun's warm rays did little to chase away the dread. I called the local man again. This time, he came prepared with symbols and herbs, chanting ancient words while circling the barn in our house. "The spirit is restless," he said gravely. "It wants freedom, but is bound to this land by powerful magic." He told us stories of a snake demon trapped centuries ago, cursed by the ancestors to protect the area from evil forces, but now twisted by hatred and rage. "And Milo," he added, "he is more than just a dog. Some say dogs like him have a soul connection to protect their humans from the unseen." We packed our bags the next day, deciding we couldn't stay another night. As we drove away, Milo stared out the window at the barn one last time, growling low. Back in the city, the normal noise and light didn't comfort us as much as we'd thought. Sometimes, late at night, I hear a faint hiss carried on the wind. And Milo, now calmer, still won't go near the basement door. Because some things don't leave when you move away. They follow,